Hello everyone, this is Bashar Hanna again from Prairiewood High School, and we are continuing to provide our community with the episodes that increase their information about school and after schooling and the career for their children. So this time we are meeting Miss Evans again, which she is our career advisor at Prairiewood High School, and this time we would like to ask her about ATAR. We know that ATAR is a number, but we don't know what ATAR mean. Could you kindly explain to us what does ATAR mean and how does it get calculated?
Hi, Bashar again. Thank you very much for bringing me on board to answer the questions around the ATAR and what is an ATAR. ATAR, not all students receive an ATAR. When you're in year 11, when you enter year 11 and do subject selection in year 10, you need to choose a certain group of subjects that will qualify you for an ATAR in year, for like sort of year 11 and 12. You can't halfway through year 11 go from a non-ATAR to an ATAR. But you can go from being an ATAR student to a non-ATAR student. So it depends on the mix of subjects that you have. So ATAR, what is it? It's your way into many universities. In Australia, it has been, it stands for the Australian Tertiary Admissions Rank, and it ranges from 0 all the way to 99.95. So that's the highest that you can get. It's not a score, it's not a mark, it's a rank. That means like where it is that you've come in your year group. So if you're like year 12 this year, 2021 cohort, your ATAR is your rank compared to all the other students sitting there HSC, like across Australia. That is your ATAR. So it's based on your overall HSC results. Here in New South Wales, I'm not sure of the other states, but 50% of your ATAR is comes from your assessment tasks and your trials, and that the other 50% of your ATAR is calculated based on your performance in the HSC, your year 12 exams. So, for example, an ATAR of 70 does not mean that you got 70% for all your subjects. What it means is that you're in the top 30% of your year group. The ATAR is a rank, so it's where you come based on all your other all the other cohorts, all the other students that are sitting for their HSC. And it's usually based on supply and demand. If a course is in very, very high demand, well, then the ATAR for that course will be high. They will want you to be ranking high because for that course, I'll give an example of vet science. If you want to do vet science, which is extremely popular, it's got a very high ATAR. If they have got, for example, space in their vet science course for, say, 30 students, then they will get all the applications that they have received. They'll start with the top ATAR, the student that has received the top ATAR, and count down 30. So the 30th student that they choose, that becomes the cutoff. That becomes the ATAR for that subject. So high demand subjects, courses, they call for a high ATAR. It doesn't mean that you need, the higher the ATAR, the more intellectual capacity you need to do that course. It's solely based on supply and demand. The higher the demand for a course, the higher is the ATAR. Now, why is the ATAR useful for universities? Universities use the ATAR in order to compare the achievements of all the students applying for their course. I hope that's clear. Another thing that confuses everyone is that just because you received an HSC mark of, say, say 60%, what some people do is that they add all their marks from their HSC marks and then divide it, say 5 subjects. I'll add them all up and I'll divide it by 5. That is not how the ATAR is assessed. If you come out with, say, band 6s, which is like sort of 90 plus, you'll be waiting for a pretty high ATAR. If you come out if you get your HSC results and they're around the 60% mark, some 50, then you're looking at getting a much lower ATAR, usually around the 40 to 50. There's a lot of mathematics that goes behind this. Different subjects that you do have different weights, which means that the mark gets scaled differently. Someone doing, for example, I don't want to start naming subjects, but certain subjects get scaled higher because they're harder. So they'll get scaled, they'll result in a higher ATAR for the student than the one that was doing subjects that aren't so demanding. I hope that's clear. And the ATARs of recent years, more and more universities are starting to depend less and less on ATARs. They found that it wasn't a very be-all and end-all indicator of how the student will perform throughout the whole course. Some students obviously struggle in their first year, and they actually found that someone was telling me that one study found that students from that didn't get as high an ATAR in a course ended up, performing much better and first of all finishing the course, and second of all getting a much higher grade point average, overall mark in their course than someone that had entered with a higher ATAR. So what universities are tending to do now is that they're introducing different ways for students to get into university. Different universities, different courses that come under different faculties within each of the universities do have their own way of admission, and it's not solely around the ATAR. If you don't have an ATAR, if you're a student that does not have an ATAR, there is also a way into university. Another thing about focusing too much on ATAR and that, as I've said before, students should focus on what it is that they want to do, where it is that they want to end up, what do they want to become, and then we can work our way backwards. Maybe one of the many ways they can get into the course or to become who they want to become. Maybe the ATAR is one out of many ways to get in. So there's a lot of stress around the ATAR. People get very antsy about the ATAR, but it isn't something that should be, looked upon as the sole entry into a course, because there are other ways in. I hope that answers your question, Bashar, and I hope that clarifies certain things for the audience out there as well. Thank you.
Once again, we would like to thank you so much, Mrs. Evans, for this informative session, and we hope that our community, students, parents will get the maximum benefit out of the information provided. Thank you so much.